Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back. Welcome to day 3 of Elevating Excellence at Dixie Hollins High School. We have an amazing panel of college representatives for you. And the first thing I want to do is please give them a round of applause, if you would. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thanks for that warm welcome, guys. If you could begin, please, just tell us your names and a little bit about your college. We'll start with UCF.
Sure. Can you hear me on this? All right, good morning. My name is Nabila. I'm an assistant director at the University of Central Florida in the Office of Undergrad Admissions. UCF is a public university in Orlando. We have about 66,000 students, which makes us the largest university in the state of Florida and one of the largest in the country. With a student body of that size, we do strive to give you the best experience possible. We offer over 90 undergraduate majors, over 90 master's and doctoral programs that you can enroll in as well. So everything from engineering to real estate, communications, you name it, we have it. Along with that, we also have over 650 clubs and organizations that you can be a part of. So everything from a chocolate lovers club, a napping club, equestrian club, whatever it is that you're interested in, we definitely have a place for you at UCF. Our applications do open about a year in advance, so if you're coming in for a fall term, our application would open up the fall before. We do recommend that students start submitting their application between September to November of their senior year. That way you have the best opportunity to make sure that you're eligible for scholarships and for the best housing once you're accepted, as well as we do operate on a rolling admission. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Good morning. My name is Bené Bondi. I'm the Central Florida Regional Recruiter with the University of Alabama. I actually have a pretty cool job. I'm a regional representative, so I live in Tampa, Florida permanently. I'm a third-generation Tampa native, wouldn't have it any other way. I've been at Alabama now 10 years, and my responsibility is primarily serving the Central Florida students. So it's nice to have a local point of contact here in the area. So I visit all the high schools, do the college fairs, but also I meet with families all the time individually. So if ever you need any help or have any questions, feel free to contact or email me anytime. The University of Alabama is a fairly large public research institution. We're at 38,000 students. We're a couple of unique areas of aspect that we have. 57% of our students are from out of state. That's pretty unique. We actually have more out of state students than in-state students in Alabama, primarily because of the great scholarships we offer our students. And we can definitely touch on that later on the panel if you have any questions about that. Another unique aspect is 98% of our students are undergraduates. So even though we offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs, very traditional living and learning environment. Freshmen are required to live on campus. We also believe in keeping your class sizes pretty small. Believe it or not, your average student-teacher ratio at Alabama school our size is still about 22 to 1. So it's a kind of a unique experience. We also have over 80 academic programs for you to study. Most popular programs, business, engineering, arts and sciences, communications are our most popular areas of interest, as well as having an outstanding honors college, which provides you a really small opportunity within larger institutions. So definitely, if you guys are interested in honors colleges, I would highly recommend you explore that avenue within the greater institutions you're interested in. As far as admissions goes, we operate on rolling admissions. We do not have priority deadlines. However, we have a set scholarship deadline, which is December 15th of the senior year. So if you're interested in scholarship consideration, highly recommend you apply pretty early, typically between August to November of your senior year, so you can still receive scholarship consideration for us. As far as the scholarship processes goes, we also have scholarships that range anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 per year. They are automatic merit-based scholarships, as well as an outstanding national merit finalist scholarship. So that's some general information I can provide for you, and thanks for having me today.
Thanks so much. All right, New College.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Alcock, and I'm the Associate Director for New Student Recruitment. New College of Florida is located in Sarasota, which is about 45 minutes south of St. Petersburg. We are a public liberal arts and science college. We are part of the state university system, which means U.S. Florida residents would get in-state tuition. We are called the Honors College for the state of Florida, which means all of our courses are taught on an honors level. We're not a school within a school. We're the honors college. We are 850 students total, so very different from the last two you just heard from. That's done intentionally. We have a 10 to 1 student faculty ratio. We want you to be in small classes that are about 15 students on average in a class, so you get to know your faculty, you get to collaborate and do research with them. We do have one master's program, which is in mathematics data science, but otherwise everyone is an undergraduate, so all the facilities, all the staff, everything is for you. We also have a residential campus. 80% of our students live on campus. We have about 110 acres right on Sarasota Bay. It's very beautiful. We have a waterfront campus as well with the boathouse and sailing equipment and paddle boards and kayaks if you want to take out any time and enjoy yourself on the bayfront. Our top majors, I would say, are marine biology, psychology, pre-med, pre-law. We have about 40 different majors to choose from, and each student will also be matched with an academic advisor, which are our professors. So all of our professors teach all of the classes. You'll never have a TA teaching a class. Professors, all hands on deck, also advising students, so it's a very personalized education. We do have a holistic approach to the application, which means we look at everything that you send us. We'll look at your common application, we'll look at your transcript, we'll look at your test scores, your letter of recommendation, we'll look at your extracurricular activities, and whether you have leadership roles or anything that you want to tell us about yourself, we want you to put in that application so we see who you are as a person. We have something that's very unusual is no grades. So we basically have a holistic narrative evaluation system where students receive a very personalized evaluation from their professor after each class. They do either get a satisfactory or an unsatisfactory in a class, but during the semester you'll have traditional grades so you know how you're doing. This does not have any effect as far as not getting into grad school. Everyone gets into grad school at New College. In fact, we have one of the highest rates of going into grad schools. And they are doing really well, getting into really fantastic programs. So if you have any questions, we would love for you to visit. It's only 45 minutes south of here. So consider New College of Florida. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. And last but certainly not least, Fisk.
Good morning, students. My name is Brittany Spicer. I am the Southeastern Region Admission Counselor at Fisk University. We are located in Nashville, Tennessee, in the heart of Nashville, about 10 minutes from downtown. We are a small liberal arts private HBCU with the focus in the STEMs. So right now our most popular majors are biology, psychology, and business administration. We have a little over 700 students, so we are a small, close-knit community. Your average class size is going to be 15 students with a student to faculty ratio of 12 to 1. We do have several opportunities for students to be involved on campus. We have over 60 campus organizations, and we're part of the NAIA Division I Athletic Association. Also, right now, we have a 82% retention rate. So that's awesome. We pride ourselves on cultivating leaders and scholars one by one, and our school is really a family environment. As far as the profile for students, we typically look for a student with a 3.35 to a 3.6, 18 to 21 on the ACT, or a 950 to 1050 on the SAT, and that was the students from last year. We do everything on the Common App, so we do look at everything that's in your application. We have a holistic approach to the application process as well. And we also have several different deadlines. We are a private institution, so in-state and out-of-state tuition is the same. We do have merit-based scholarships ranging from $5,000 to a full ride. And we really pride ourselves also on making sure that students are placed in graduate programs or in professional positions within a year of graduation.
Thank you so much. All right, we want to open it up to your questions, but first we have many questions throughout the district that were put together. I have, in fact, some questions that came up from Palm Harbor University High School, which is tuning in via live stream. And this question came up a lot, and this is for any of you or all of you, what would you say, or what could you tell these students is the most important thing that's considered for applications to your university? And if there's not one most important, like what might be the top 3?
So one thing I always tell students is first apply early before you even turn in your application. So if you're looking to know where you want to go to school in the spring, definitely start applying on that first deadline, November 1st. Also, when you're submitting your application, have somebody proofread it, have somebody look over every aspect of your application. Be mindful of the curriculums that you're taking in high school, because we do look at the rigor of your curriculum. And we also look at the involvement that you have in your community as well as in your school. So I think that might be 3, more than 3. But just be mindful of what your application looks like, that your application is solid, proofread, and that you put your best foot forward so that you will have the best opportunity to be considered for scholarships. I know with our school, we actually don't do a separate scholarship application. We actually take your initial application from the Common App and we consider you from scholarships from there. So it's all in one.
Okay, anyone else?
I would say the first thing that we look at in your application is your high school career. We want to take a look at what kind of courses you've been taking. We look to see if you're taking the most challenging courses that your school offers. That means that you're doing well, you're being, having a rigorous curriculum, and that means you'd most likely be successful at New College in the honors program. We also we do look at your activities. We look to see, we're not really looking for quantity. We don't want to see like a laundry list of activities. We want to see that you're doing something for at least 3 years. That means you're passionate about something, you really love something, you really are responsible, you're doing those kinds of things. Because that means that you're going to most likely bring those talents and your passions to our college, and we want you to be able to bring that to our campus. I would also say the letter of recommendation is important. We want to see from another perspective, what do your teachers think of you? What do your guidance counselors think of you? What kind of person are you? Those things I would say are what we look at first.
Excellent, thank you.
Being a public university of Alabama, it works a little differently. We do not look at essays nor letters of recommendation. We look at strictly your GPA and test scores for our application review. We do take in consideration your extracurricular activities for in leadership as part of the scholarship application, but initially it's just high school transcripts and test scores we look at. So obviously we're looking at for different things. Obviously your overall high school curriculum, if you've challenged yourself with AP, IB, type curriculum, ACE curriculum. We also look at if you've exceeded our minimal admissions requirements. So if you've done more than the minimal, your basic Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, if you've excelled farther in math and taken those higher level in terms of our admissions requirements that we're looking for. Also look at SAT or ACT scores. Right now our average GPA is at 3.7 and our average SAT is around a 1250 to 1300 and our average ACT is around a 28. So it kind of gives you an idea in terms of what we're looking for in terms of curriculum. I highly recommend from a general perspective that when you go through the college process that you talk to individual admissions reps such as us to find out what we're looking for, because I wish I could tell you every school does it the same, but we all do it very differently. Some use holistic review, we do not. Some do, some don't. Some look at weighted GPA, some don't. Some look at recalculation, super score, non-super score. These are all general admissions terms that you need to learn as you go through the process. So the best advice I can give you from an overall perspective is to really have those conversations with individual schools and what they're looking for as well.
Thank you.
So for us, it is very important that you have a competitive GPA and that you have a competitive test score as well. However, we do like to look at students holistically. So we're looking to see that you've challenged yourself academically throughout high school. We do give you the extra weighting for the AP, IB, ACE enrollment, honors courses, things like that, which we can discuss a little more as well. But we also like to see that you've been participating in extracurriculars, that you've had leadership opportunities. If you had any kind of community service, things like that, we do like that on the application as well. Along with that, letters of recommendation and the essay are highly recommended, but they're completely optional.
Great, thank you. A follow-up question also from Palm Harbor. Are there specific high school classes that you guys are looking for in your applications, like classes that you would say are setting students apart. Anything that you can mention to that?
I can start. Well, on a basic level, of course, we look to see that you meet the basic requirements that you need for graduation as far as your units, but we do like to see that you've been challenging yourself. So as I mentioned, we look to see that you've taken AP, IB, ACE, dual enrollment courses, and we look to see that you've taken those courses and been successful at those. So we'd rather that you take them and do well at them, get your A's and B's instead of getting D's. It won't do you much well if you're not doing well, but we do like to see that on the application.
Okay.
I just want to reiterate everything she said. That's pretty much very similar to what I would say. We do have our minimal admissions requirements that I mentioned earlier, which are your basic units, English, certain years of English, math, science, social sciences. For your high school graduation requirements, we kind of vary a little differently with our admissions requirements. One is we require 4 years of a social science, which is a little different than the state of Florida. And 2, we require 1 year of a foreign language, which is also a little different. So those are kind of some variances that we have, but I would reiterate everything she said about academic rigor, challenging yourself with it. And also too, when I talk to younger students, understand that we look at all 4 years of your curriculum. Sometimes I meet students and they're like, oh, it's senior year is so far away, you don't really look at my freshman side, but we do. There are certain trends we look at. So we like you to maintain or increase your level, obviously, in terms of your academic rigor and GPA and things like that throughout the course of your history.
Good, good.
I would also add that we are looking at your senior year too, and we want to see that you're challenging yourself and not just taking a little vacation, because we want to make sure that you're still working hard in your senior year, because you still are doing those AP classes, you're still taking ACE courses, you're still challenging yourself, because we will notice that if we see like a little more you're taking a lot of electives or something. So that's important too, just to make sure that you are continuing that rigor throughout your senior year as well.
So we're pretty much the same. We do look at a lot of your curriculum and see, and if you take honors courses, AP, IB. One thing we also do is look at your school profile to see how many classes are offered as far as AP and IB. So let's just say there's 20 classes offered and you're taking 1. So it might kind of, give us an idea of what you're taking advantage of at your school. But we do look at all of that in your curriculum. We also look at your entire high school career to see, okay, did you start off not taking honors and you went up to honors? So we look at that too to see how you've matriculated and grown throughout the years.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. Do we have any questions from the audience here at Dixie Hollins? Don't be shy, guys. You're not shy. Excellent. What's your name?
Lauren Latimer. My question is for all of you guys, if we're coming up in our senior year, would you guys recommend us taking more AP classes, or does it look good as well if we're taking more dual enrollment honors classes and then a few AP classes as well?
I would say I think that's fine. If you're taking at least 1 or 2 of those, those highest courses that your school offers, I think that shows us you're still challenging yourself, even with the dual enrollment classes as well. I would say to do that, you can do a mixture if that's what you're most comfortable with, or that's what you think you could do.
I would also say just look at what you think is going to be best for you as a student. We do consider dual enrolled students kind of on the same level as students that are taking AP and IB courses, just because when you come in, you already have some experience taking college level courses. So definitely look at that. I had another thought and I lost it, but yes, dual enrolled credits definitely carry a great weight for us, and just make sure that it's something that you can maintain, because we also look at your final transcript once you actually have already applied. So we want to see that by your last semester you didn't just bum just because you knew you already got into college, and that's not going to a lot of times it doesn't change your scholarships or your financial qualifications, but we will see that you might need to be put in certain type of classes so that you can make sure that you're kept on track throughout your college year.
Said earlier, I mean, obviously we all recommend you continue to challenge yourself throughout your senior year. I think we've made that pretty clear, you know, in terms of making sure you're continuing. Once it starts the application process, don't think that you can just be like, okay, I'm into college, peace. You know, it doesn't work like that. So we obviously want you to recommend continuing taking the level rigor. Basically, also, we accept AP, IB dual enrollment. Most schools do, ACE credits. It really depends on you in terms of individually, because most schools will evaluate those on all different levels. AP and IB, you typically need certain scores on your AP exams, so it's more than taking an AP course. It's getting, especially if you want advanced credit for those courses. If you're going to do dual enrollment, obviously I'd recommend a solid general education course, nothing below a C. I'd also recommend you get some information on your overall academic program. Engineering requirements are really different than history requirements in terms of your majors that you're going to be studying in college. So having an understanding on what's going to transfer into universities and how that's going to benefit you in terms of the ultimate long degree, in terms of your degree completion as well.
So for UCF, as far as like whether or not you should be taking AP, dual enrollment, honors, for us we recommend that you take anything that you can challenge yourself in. So it's fantastic if you're able to take dual enrollment courses, because of course it is going to give you that high school credit and it is going to give you the college credit as well, but you also want to make sure that you're doing really well in that, because if you get an F in that, you're not only getting an F in your high school GPA, that college GPA is going to carry on and it's going to begin from there as well, so it is going to impact both of them. But as she said, if you're going to be taking dual enrollment, make sure that it is one of the general education requirements that you're going to need to take anyway. Make sure that you consult with the college of your major to make sure that it's something that, of course, that would really benefit you. You don't want to take courses that aren't going to do much for you. As far as the honors classes go, you're welcome to take that as well. However, the honors is going to give you an extra half a point on the weighting as opposed to your AP, IB, ACE, and dual enrollment, which would give you an extra full point on the weighting. So it would still give it a little bit of weighting. It would just be a little lower for the honors as opposed to the other ones.
Thank you so much. Any more questions here from Dixie? Hi, would you please stand up? Yes. What's your name?
Tristan.
All right.
What is the major that most undergraduates usually pick in the first year?
Like by percentage, maybe?
Right now, our most popular majors are biology, psychology, and business administration. So,
A lot of our students actually come in undecided, which is actually pretty good, because then you can kind of take classes that are interesting to you, that you're curious about. You don't have to decide on your major until the end of your second year at New College of Florida. But of course, some students already know they want to study, marine biology or psychology or pre-med. But you'll work with your academic advisor on, what you're thinking about, what your short-term goals are, your long-term goals. That's what I'm
We're research institutions, so we're pretty heavy in the sciences. Biology is one of our top 3 majors. Psychology is actually our largest degree option, as well as political science. We have an outstanding law school. Business is our 2nd largest college. Engineering is our 3rd largest college, and communications is our 4th largest college.
For UCF, our most popular majors would definitely be engineering, computer science, and biology. We started off as a feeder school for NASA back in the 60s, so that's really where our talents really lies, the engineering fields, and so a lot of students tend to come in under that.
Excellent, thank you. We're getting lots of live questions here from across the district. One question from Gibbs High School, also watching via live stream. What are the benefits of early admission to your specific university?
Well, I'll start with the broad terminology: early admission, early decision, There's so many different admissions terms. Early admission is different than early decision, or early action. These are familiar terms that we know, but again, being advised of what your choices are. There's obviously rolling admission. I think UCF and I don't know if you guys are rolling admission. So that basically means we admit students on a rolling weekly basis as applications are completed, but we have priority deadlines, but not necessarily set deadlines. Although most of our priority deadlines are pretty early, as we mentioned earlier, November, probably December, something of that nature. Early decision is a little different. You typically only apply early decision to the top college of your choice. If you get into that institution, it's basically contractual. you're under the assumption that you're going to attend that institution if you've applied early decision and get in. So you're on the assumption that you're going to withdraw the remaining of your applications in terms of your admissions decision. So that's a little different. Early decision, we can talk about that. I don't know if anybody does anybody have early decision here? Anybody? Okay. So early decision, again, is something you want to talk individually and have that be your top choice institution. Early action is kind of like early rolling admissions, where we make an assumption if you apply early action that we'll act on your application in a suitable, timely fashion. And then you just have regular admissions where there are set dates. So there are some public universities in here that have set application deadlines, that if you apply by this date, you're going to get a notification. Everybody is notified on the same date. And that works a lot with the public institutions here in the state of Florida. So that's some general, I don't know if that answered the question in particular.
Yeah, I think so.
I was doing it from a broad perspective. I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to add.
Yeah, I think a lot of these questions are not necessarily specific to your university, but these students have questions about university admissions. So thank you. Go ahead.
I would say just applying early, whether it's early decision, early action, first of all, shows your true interest in the university. So we can see early on who's really interested in coming to our university. If you apply early, and I know for us, a lot of times, the earlier you apply, the better as far as scholarships are concerned, because they're on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you apply by our first deadline, which is November 1st, then you will have equal opportunity to all of the scholarship funds then versus applying, let's say, in March. So I definitely encourage everybody to apply early, whether it's early decision or early action.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have a follow-up from Gibbs. Similarly, or I guess conversely, to early admissions, what would be the effect of a gap year on your admission if you took a year off between high school and college?
For us at UCF, the gap year has no impact on it. We're just looking to see that you graduated high school, that you have a competitive high school GPA, you have a competitive test score, you've met all the units, all of that. The gap year would not have an impact on that.
That's fine with us. If you want to take a gap year, again, we'll look at all of your application materials like we normally do. And yeah, that's fine for us too.
Same here, as far as the gap year, making sure it's a meaningful experience, in terms of how long you're going to be taking. Sometimes deferring admission, we can only do that for a semester, but the gap year we can do for a year if it's a meaningful experience. So you'll have to demonstrate to us that it's a meaningful experience that you're doing in your gap year. I'd also recommend if you're receiving any scholarships that you highly talk to your scholarship office in terms of the gap year process to notify them that you are taking a gap year so that it's not going to affect any of your scholarships as well.
Yeah, the gap year is not a huge ordeal for us, but if you are, let's say, enrolled in a college or taking some college courses, we just want to make sure you send in all of that information to us. But by any means, if you need to take a gap year for whatever reasons, I say do what is going to be in the best interest for you so that when you come in freshman year, you can be focused.
Excellent, thank you. Another question here from Dixie. Would you please stand up?
Of course. My name is Porter Nelson. So I know a lot of colleges, they look for basically, if you started out the school not doing great and then you did amazingly, so let's say you brought it from mostly C's to mostly A's, that's a big quality point for colleges. If you started out really strong, so if you started out like a straight A student, and as the classes got harder, as you took more APs, your grades kind of dropped a little bit down to B's and C's. The fact that you have those APs there, and the fact that you're struggling in an advanced class rather than succeeding in an easy class, the colleges care about that, or do they only see the B's and the C's on there?
I know for us, we will look at, like we said, the whole college career to see how you've increased, decreased your grades. But we do look and see that you are challenging yourself. So if you are challenging yourself and you're maybe getting a C in the class versus an A, we don't look like disfavorably on that. We'll just see that, he's taking an AP course or IB course and he's getting a C. We like to see that you're actually challenging yourself and taking advantage of the curriculum. So.
I also would add that with New College of Florida, we'll look in your common application, and some students might add some additional information about maybe why their grades may have fallen a little bit, and that's okay too, so we can have kind of a perspective of what you've been through. Some people have a family emergency or something is going on, and that's why their grades slip a little bit. But otherwise, if we see, we see here or there, it's not going to make a huge difference. We know that you're challenging yourself, so that's the most important.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would just reiterate everything they've said. I mean, there's a fine line between challenging yourself and succeeding sometimes. So obviously you want to continue to challenge yourself, but we also will evaluate how you're doing in those courses. So.
Yeah, for UCF, we definitely look at grade trend. So, if you started off the year fantastic and then maybe something happened, a family emergency, and your grades dropped a little bit, we do like to see that it picked back up. And so if you want to document that in any way, you're welcome to, send us a letter, an email, anything like that. But we do like to mostly see A's and B's in those courses, even if it is rigorous courses, as opposed to C's.
I also want to add too, we look at, like one of our criteria as we're evaluating applications, we look to see that students have a thirst for knowledge or, the desire to want to challenge themselves academically. So even if, like you said, you might get a C in it, we'll look to see, okay, he wants to grow or he or she wants to grow in his academic knowledge and the rigor of his curriculum, even if they're not doing the absolute best. So.
Thank you so much. Another question here from Dixie. Please stand up.
My name is Jaleel. Would you recommend, is it okay to come in as a freshman, already knowing what major you want to go into, or would you recommend coming in as a freshman open and then picking your major later?
For us, like I said earlier, you don't need to know what you want to do. When you step on campus, many of our students are undecided, and like I said, that's actually a good thing because it is keeping you open to learn in all the divisions in humanities and natural sciences, social sciences, languages. And then you'll work with your academic advisor as you continue your time, and you'll realize, I think I want to major in history or want to major in political science. But you don't need to really actually declare your major until the end of your second year. So it's up to you, but you're going to keep yourself open to what's available. That's what college is all about, to try new things, to see what's out there, to see what you're good at, see what you're passionate about. So it's good to spread out, your knowledge and kind of learn new things.
I will say, with us being a liberal arts school, there's so many courses that we require students to take before they, or kind of, you can either take them before you take your major classes or kind of intermingle them with them. So if you come in undecided, it's okay. You might actually find out what you want to do based on those liberal arts classes or some of the classes that you're required to take. So if you want to come in undecided, that's fine as well. Some students are just really focused and they know that's exactly what they want to study. But we will also give you an academic advisor the week of orientation, so they can kind of help guide you throughout your college years to see exactly what's going to be best for you. Because I know a lot of students might come in doing one major, but once they take some of the courses, they're like, maybe that doesn't really work for me. So it might steer you the other way. But to me, if you're not really set on a major, I would consider maybe doing undecided and then taking some of your freshman prerequisite courses to start off.
I agree. You can come in undecided or declared. You technically don't have to declare a major to your sophomore year, as you mentioned as well. But it also depends on how many advanced credits you're coming in the university with. I mean, we have students now coming in with their A degrees, so obviously if you have a significant amount of credits, you probably are going to have to declare sooner rather than later in terms of others. I'd also recommend you look at the overall curriculum. Some like engineering, you have to start pretty early. Nursing, some of the nursing's not an automatic admission program, so those are things you have to do a lot of prerequisites. So it really depends on what you want to overall major as well. That's a lot different than humanities or business or something like that. But most schools require general education requirements as well as your major requirements. In terms of being an undecided or declared major.
For UCF, we don't have a preference whether you're coming in declaring a major, if you're coming in undecided. When we admit you to the university, we're admitting you to the university itself, not necessarily into any specific major. So you're welcome to change that at any time. You will meet with your academic advisor when you go to orientation, and we will have change of major forms available at orientation for you as well. along with that, we do have a major exploration program that you can, partake in, and they can help you if you have any doubts about the major that you're in, or if you just want to explore other ones that we have available.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, we've got another question coming in, this time from Clearwater, also with us on live stream. Clearwater High School asks about students staying at high school and taking dual enrollment / AP classes, or applying, going to college early. So early college or dual enrollment, which do you think is preferable?
I would say dual enrollment, just because you can get your full high school experience along with your college experience, and still come in and have the credits that you need. It's probably going to depend on the maturity of the student as well, but I would consider probably doing dual enrollment in high school, and being able to say, oh, I'm going to college with an associate's degree, and being able to, take off some of those classes that you'll have to take in college, because some programs might not even be within 4 years, depending on, how many credits you have, what's going on with you, if you change your major, all that good stuff. So I would say maximize your high school career and your college career if you can.
I agree.
Agree. I'd say it's more personal preference for the student, whichever one works best for you. We don't look at it, strong or anything either way.
Okay, thank you so much. Any more live questions here at Dixie? Yes, many. Excellent. Would you please stand up and tell us your name?
I'm Lauren. So aside from the basic stuff that's on a college application, what other variables do you guys look at, such as social media, behavior, stuff like that?
That's a great question. I think that's an awesome question. I have a couple general rules of thumb. Think before you tweet, okay? Use the grandma test. Don't post anything that you would be ashamed your grandma would see. Obviously, know your privacy settings. Know your boundaries as well. Know that we are cool people, we like interacting with students, but we also have a professional relationship with you. So, don't send us a Facebook friend request, in terms of knowing the professional boundaries. Also, know that we would evaluate that. Anything that we feel would be negative in terms of rescinding your admission, things like that, we are going to take that into consideration. That means socially as well as academically, things that you post. And also understand that you can use social media in a very positive way to interact with colleges. We all have social media accounts. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. If you visit campus, tweet it out, had a great experience at orientation. So obviously you can use it in a very positive manner as well. So.
Yeah, I would say the same. Colleges don't really look for you on social media. We're not going to troll you or anything like that. Just be smart. Use your common sense. We do also have, the Facebook, feeds and all the other, Instagram and so forth. And we will use that, and you can use that with, to communicate with us too.
Thank you so much. Further?
Like she said, we don't look for your Instagram pages, Facebook pages, anything like that. But with our school being very small and close-knit, there are students who might, know you from a first or second or third degree that might be familiar with your behavior. So just be mindful of what you post, especially if you have open profiles or you have something that's very accessible. As far as behavior, we do have a place on the Common App that actually asks you, have you been in any disciplinary violations at school? So if it's something that's kind of recent, we do kind of consider that, because we will see that, okay, maybe that student might change the climate of the university, or be an influence on other students at the school. But if it's something far back, it's not a major ordeal. So just be mindful of what you post.
Thank you. Another question from Clearwater High School. Do you guys consider the high school that is attended when you're looking at a student's class rank? Like if they are number 1 or 5 or 10 in their class, does it matter what high school they went to?
I will say for Fisk University, we definitely look at the quality of your high school, especially when consider you for scholarships. Because let's say you went to a high school, the quality in the high school quality is maybe 90%, and you had all IB courses. Of course, that's going to carry much more weight than somebody who is at a 30% high school quality high school, and they are taking AP classes. It's just like almost your GPA and your courses might carry a little bit more of a weight. So we do look at the high school quality when we were considering you for application for admission to the university.
We look at more of if you have a class rank, let's see if you're in the top 10, top 20%. That's going to weigh a little bit in the application. But the actual school, I mean, it's, of course, just make sure they're accredited and so forth. But we'll look at the school profile, again, to look at the type of coursework that's available and if you're taking those challenging classes that are offered.
Same, we evaluate the high school profile, but also it's dependent on what your school offers. Obviously we do look at the high school you're coming from in terms of what's offered as well. So,
Same for you, Sam.
Sure. Thanks so much. Another question from Palm Harbor regarding college admission essays. What advice can you give them? What's the best way to go about writing them? Are there topics that you see very often? Is there anything they should avoid in their college admission essay?
Start. So for the essay, we do have some prompts that are available on the website. You'll see that as you're going through our application as well, and you'll see that as you're going through the Common App as well, so we'll accept it either way. However, those essays are not required, and so you can write about anything that's pertinent to you. If something happened throughout your high school career, something happened in your life that was a defining moment for you, write about that. We don't have any specifics that we really need, just a small writing sample for you for the committee so that they're able to look at that. We do typically recommend that you keep it at about 500, 750 words, something around there. We don't want a 10-page essay to read through, so try to keep it simple, short, and just kind of explain your situation that way, but we're really just looking for a writing sample from you.
we actually don't require an essay, but I do have some general recommendations for you regarding the essay. Now, the purpose of the essay and the recommendation is really to find out those other things we can find out about you besides your grades and test scores, like the holistic review, what we mentioned before. So what you can bring to our communities and what you can contribute to our college campus. So that's really the purpose of the holistic review. My general recommendations with essays is obviously one, some of them will give you topics, some of them will just say, tell us something you want to tell us, which can be sometimes more challenging. But if there's a specific question, answer it. Okay, if I asked you to overcome a certain challenge you had, don't talk to me about 10 pages about your cat Fluffy. Okay, I didn't ask about Fluffy. I'm sure she's a great cat, but that was not my question. Two, if there's a designated time, if we say answer this question 250 words or less, what do you think we mean? 250 words or less. So don't give us 10 pages when we said we wanted 250 words or less. And three, and this may seem, well, I actually have two more. One, if it says optional, what do you think that means? Do it, yes, that's a test. If anytime you see optional on a college application, that means we want you to actually do something we didn't ask you to do. So if you see optional essay, I recommend you do it. And four, and this is very simple, but it can make a big difference, change the name of the school, okay? I know it sounds funny, but it can take a great essay and turn it into a really bad essay just like that. I don't care if you use the same essay from multiple schools, but like the best essay I read, I got down to, and this is why I want to go to, and that was my main competitor, and that was not the school I was working at. And it just told me a lot about that person in terms of attention to detail, and it took 2 seconds to change my whole view of how they submitted that essay. So if you're going to use the same essay for multiple schools, please change the name of the university.
As a small college, we do look at that essay pretty carefully. And we're on the common application. So on the common application, you get a choice of different prompts. So I think it's like 7 different prompts. So you get to choose. You get lots of choices to see what you want to write about. So pick something that you're going to really kind of write about, something that's really important to you, that's something that you're passionate about, whether it be sports or music or speech and debate or volunteering. We want to see what you're about. What's your personality? What are you going to bring to our campus? You don't have to get super personal. I mean, it's better to kind of give us like an overview and give us an example of what you went through or somewhere you traveled that had a really big impact on you. We want to see who you are. So for us, the essay is quite important. So make sure that you have someone look at it before you submit it. Make sure you have either a parent or a guardian or a teacher or a friend take a look at it before you submit it, because the details are important. We do look at that as well.
So we do require an essay. So we do look at the essay, and like they said, you can go on our website and look at the essay prompts ahead of time, just to kind of, just prepare yourself. Just make sure, like she said, make sure you have somebody proofread it. Make sure there's no grammatical errors, no other schools in there. Because just think about it, what you're putting on your essay and some of your writing skills is some of the same writing skills that your professors will be reading. So we want to make sure when you come in, this is something that's going to be favorable to some of the professors that we have on staff that will be okay with your writing abilities. So just be mindful of that. Proofread and follow instructions like they said. So if it asks for 500 words, give us 500 words. Some people might think, oh, it's okay for me to just be overzealous or go over the top and be an overachiever, but we most likely won't read it if it's gonna be that long. Like, we're not gonna read it if it's like 2 pages long. So follow instructions, be mindful, and have somebody proofread it, such as an English teacher or a parent that can give you some sound advice.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have a bit of a curveball question from a teacher here, specifically regarding ACE classes and the AS level versus A level. AS, is the advanced subsidiary, like the level 1. Do those classes count as core credit or elective credit at your institution?
You said ACE classes?
Yeah, ACE.
For us, all the ACE classes, we weight as a full weighting. So there's, and if you're taking those, for high school units like English, math, social studies, science, foreign language, we will count those towards those classes, towards the units.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. Could you comment at all on the value of an ACE diploma, an AP capstone diploma, an IB diploma, versus, how they stand with regard to your university?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm learning. The ACE diploma is something specific to Florida, so I was not even familiar with that, being that I'm from Tennessee. So, so yeah, they can probably answer that.
For us, if you have the diploma, that's great. Again, we're really looking at your coursework in high school, that you've taken those rigorous courses. If you have the diploma, that's great. So you're going to be able to use some of those credits for college credits with us. And the same thing with the IB diploma. It shows us that you're really, you've really concentrated, you really challenged yourself. So that's a good thing.
IB diploma. So yes, that's going to carry a ton of weight for us. And we do accept IB test scores of 4s and 5s. So that's definitely going to set you apart and push you forward when you get into the university. I know a lot of students it's very few students that are taking like all IB courses, but if you are, we do look at that. And I know some of our presidential scholars are IB diploma recipients. So those are students that have full rides to university. So.
Excellent, thank you. A question here from Clearwater. How do your colleges view students who have advanced beyond the minimum here in Florida, 2 years of a foreign language? Yeah, they are required to take 2 years of a foreign language. What if they go beyond that? How much weight does that carry with you?
For us, we are going to take anything that you take over the 2 years is going to calculate into your GPA. However, it's not anything that's required, of course. So if you do that, that's fantastic, but it's not going to waiver anything for us either way.
Earlier, ours work a little differently because we only require 1 year of a foreign language. So most of our students are going to be coming in with minimal, obviously above our minimal foreign language requirement. But obviously, is what I go back to saying earlier is we have the minimals, but if you exceed them, then you obviously get greater consideration. That you continue to challenge yourself in terms of rigor.
I think also, it looks really good to us too, and also you're going to get that extra weighting if you're taking foreign language and you're taking AP or IB language. That's fantastic because that's going to bring your GPA up. But it also shows us you're passionate about that, and we also suggest that you continue your language when you go to college. That's a really great skill to have as you're going through college and then going into your careers as well.
Yes, so we definitely look favorably upon that. Also, it does look really good if you're thinking of studying a foreign language when you come to the university, and we have study abroad programs, so that could help you if you want to do some, go into some opportunities like that as well.
Okay, thank you. More questions here at Dixie. Okay, would you please stand up, tell us your name and your question?
Hi, how much of an impact do different honor societies have on getting in, and how many do you like to see?
And your name?
I'm Jack.
For us, we're not looking, like I said, for quantity. We're looking for quality. So for us, that's great. If you're in the National Honor Society, some of the speech and debate teams are also an honor society, so that's really impressive. Do what you want to do what you love to do, and that's going to show into your application. That's going to show us who you are. There's no need to run yourself ragged and try to get a zillion things on your application. Do a few things that you're good at, that you love, and it's gonna have an impact.
I will say we do have a spot on our application that, or our reader sheet that tells us, if you were in the National Honor Society, so that will definitely stick out. But we don't look and see does he have 5? Is he in 5 honor societies? So, like she said, do what's going to be best for you. And believe me, when you get to college, there are several honor societies that you can be in. So you have the opportunity to still continue that on once you get to school.
I would just reiterate, I'd also recommend, we haven't talked about resumes. Some schools require resumes, so if that's something you guys don't have yet or are thinking about doing one, I highly encourage you to start a resume. That can list your extracurricular activities and things like that, and if any leadership positions you have. So if schools require that on their applications, you already have that readily available. Your years that you've been in the specific school, those curricular activities, as well as any leadership potential you've had.
For UCF, same thing that they just said. It's really more about being a part of a society that's important to you as opposed to just getting those numbers on your application. That would be more important to us than anything.
Great, thank you. Another question from Palm Harbor. Do you guys recalculate GPA? And if so, what is the scale there?
Yes, so at UCF we do recalculate your GPA. Once we get your official transcript, we will recalculate that ourselves. So really what we're looking at is, as we've mentioned earlier, as far as the units, we're looking to see that you've completed your units in English, math, social science, natural science, and foreign language. For the recalculation, for any AP, IB, ACE, dual enrollment courses that you're taking, we will award you an extra full point. So if you're taking one of those courses, you earn an A, which is typically a 4.0, we would give you a 5.0 on that scale. For any pre-AP, pre-IB, pre-ACE, or honors courses, we will give you an extra half a point on that. So it's like getting a 4.5 on a 4.0 scale.
It depends on your high school scale. If you're on a typical 4.0 scale, we do not recalculate the GPA. We typically take the highest GPA directly off the transcripts. However, if you're on a different scale, we would look at evaluating recalculation.
We do exactly what UCF does. So we take your IB, AP courses, give them full credit, 1 credit, and honors is half, with all the high school units and foreign language.
So we do look at unweighted GPA. We don't recalculate GPAs unless they come in and they only have a weighted GPA. So then we will recalculate what your unweighted GPA would be and put that on your application.
Thank you so much. Another question here at Dixie. Would you stand up and tell us your name?
My name's Nayeli, and my question's for UCF. How does your Top 10 Nights program work?
Yeah, so our Top 10 Nights is actually a pretty fantastic program. It's a newer initiative that we've had over the past few years. Basically, for those students that are in the top 10% of their senior class, you are guaranteed admission to one of our 3 terms. So you're guaranteed admission to either the summer, fall, or the spring term. And along with that, you are guaranteed on-campus housing as well. So there is no separate application for the Top 10 Nights. Once you submit your application, we'll be able to see whether or not you're eligible for that. We do recommend that you have everything in by that deadline. The Top 10 Nights is the only thing that has a specific deadline, which is a January 15th deadline. That way we can get a decision back out to you by March 1st as to which semester you would be enrolled in. For the requirements for the Top 10 Nights, we're looking to see that, of course, you submit all of your required documents, the application fee, transcripts, and test scores. Along with that, we are looking for a minimum 1210 on the SAT and a 19 on the ACT for minimum consideration. But if you'd like to meet me after, I can give you a brochure that specifically talks about that, so you can have more information on it.
Okay, excellent. I think we're working on wrapping up here. If we have one more question from the Dixie audience, one more burning question. Fantastic. Would you stand up and tell us your name?
My name is Richard. I was curious about the students when they go on a gap year. If they were going to be going and doing anything such as missionary work or traveling, does that weigh more for your colleges than if they were going and spending it on just staying in state?
For us, it doesn't make a difference. You do what you want to do, and we'll look at, like I said, everything in your application and your experience as well. So that could be an added experience that, will get us more interested. But yeah, you can do whichever, is right for you.
I won't say it does or doesn't, but I would say when you apply, if you have an essay that you have to write for that school, I would somehow incorporate, what you did in your gap year so that they'll know, that you had a true passion for missionary work, or that you really wanted to take this opportunity to do something before you went to college, and kind of explain to them what went on during your gap year, and they can make that decision and see, okay, does that work? Does that look better for us, or does that look great for the student or not? So I'll just try to incorporate it somewhere in your essay or somewhere in a writing portion of the essay.
Great. I think if we could just get one piece of advice for, particularly we have a lot of rising sophomores. So like one piece of advice for people who, underclassmen who are yet like 2 years away, what should they be thinking about now to get ready for college in 2 or 3 years?
I'll start. I actually have a few pieces of advice. I haven't been in admissions for long, but the top thing I would say is, one, start early. Start early and don't just try to fix your grades your senior year. Just go ahead and start early with applying to the school that you want to go to, being familiar with what they're looking for in the application process. What else? Lost train of thought. But make sure you apply early. Also, if the school has some type of preview day or days that you can go and get a glimpse of the campus or how they do student life, definitely take advantage of those, because a lot of schools have like preview days for rising juniors, rising seniors, any student that's interested in going, or go on a campus visit and kind of get a feel for the university and see if you will mesh well with the culture that's there. So just be mindful of that. And actually stay in contact with your high school counselors and make sure that your recommendation letters are actually from people that have known you over the course of your high school career. So there are several different things that you can do to prepare, but my biggest thing is that start early so that you will have full opportunity and you won't be rushing at the last minute to try to figure out where you want to go to school and what your options are as far as finances are and the best fit for you.
I would say also to visit as many campuses as you can, because that's really the way you're going to find out, am I going to be happy here? Am I going to be comfortable here? You're going to be spending 4 years at a place, at a college. So visit, you'll meet the admissions counselors, you'll go see the campus, you'll meet with the current students, you can ask them questions about what it's like living on campus and what do they do and what are people doing in the city. So definitely visit campus. I'd also say to cast your net wide. Don't just apply to 1 or 2 schools. Make sure that you're covered, that you've got your dream schools and you've got your safety schools to make sure that you'll be admitted to at least 1 or 2 of those schools or more. But again, it's all about you. It's not about where your parents want you to go. Where are you going to be happy? What do you want for yourself during those 4 years? So definitely, I would say visit campuses.
I would just reiterate, they said do things early, visit campus. I'd also recommend you have to understand what you do today matters. So again, we look at your freshman, sophomore years up into your senior year. So having a plan in place. Also, it's never too early to start researching schools. Get on mailing lists. Go to college fair, meet with college representatives. It's never too early to start the process. I'd also recommend you be organized. I typically recommend you evaluate schools as you go through research, kind of list your top choices, where you want to visit, know their deadlines, scholarship resources. So knowing all your opportunities out there as well in terms of your research process.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend, as she said, that you are challenging yourself and that you're doing well over the first couple of years as well. As we mentioned earlier, a lot of times students just think that we're looking at the last couple of years, whereas we're looking at all 4 years. We're looking at great trend. I would recommend that you challenge yourself and take these AP courses, dual enrollment, honors, whatever it is that you have available to you. Make sure that you are taking that you are applying early to the university that you're interested in, because that is going to have a bigger impact. You would likely have more scholarship availabilities, housing, things like that. And as everyone else has said, visiting campuses. It is very important that you do that. I know for me personally, all throughout high school, there was one school that I thought I was going to go to until I took a tour of that school and I realized that it wasn't the place for me. And so that's typically the same for pretty much anyone that's graduated from a college. You kind of have to make sure that you fit into that university, that you can envision yourself being there and thriving there. So really important that you do that. For UCF especially, we do have campus tours daily. We also have night for a day open house events where we host you and your families on like a Saturday. So if you're interested in that, I would highly recommend that you do that and make sure that you do it early.
Excellent, thank you so much. How about another round of applause for Fisk, New College, Alabama, and UCF?